Hey there, it's Derek here from Pacifico's Auto in Japan. We're looking at a 2020 Toyota Yaris Cross. This one here bought from auction for export. This one has 24,000 original kilometers. This is a hybrid version, so you can get it both with the 1.5 liter gasoline engine or the 1.5 liter gasoline engine with the hybrid electric assist. This one is also a front-wheel drive model, and then you could get them in four-wheel drive if you get the hybrid version. Gasoline version is strictly front-wheel drive. We'll take a look at the condition of the car, we'll compare it to the auction inspection sheet, and then we're going to be exporting this one away as soon as possible. Okay, just give you a quick look at the gauge set there before I turn the car off for the rest of the report. Just going to give you a show here. That gauge set has your speed in the middle. This is all just a display. There is no physical gauge. I'm sorry, there are physical gauges. These are the side are physical gauges by the looks of it. They just don't show up because they're completely black when it's off. And then everything else is just a screen. And so it shows you your charge, echo, and your power for the electric assist, and your fuel and your heat or your temperature for the regular gasoline engine. It looks like you also have lane keep and warnings for stepping out of your lane. Just switch this off. That beeping is a little bit annoying. It's beeping because the hood is open there. Okay, close up the door. It is a keyless system, so as long as you have the key in your bag, you can start the engine. Okay, mechanically everything appears to be good. It has kind of mid mileage at 23,000 after 3 years. And that's going to get you a good value. The car has almost no wear on it considering it is a new car. You would expect it to be pretty clean, but it has pretty much no scratches on the exterior, just a little bit of dirtiness on the interior. Generally speaking, it looks like a very good condition car. Okay, now I will close this off. I will say oil and coolant both look good. Nothing else really to say here. It runs a CVT transmission. Actually, I guess it's kind of a CVT. I don't know exactly because the early hybrids would use the electric assist in the Toyota hybrid to run instead of a traditional CVT. I think that's what this one has, but I know that the gasoline-only version uses a CVT as well, so it could use that same CVT. I actually don't know. Regardless, both of them are going to feel very CVT-like. If you've ever driven a Prius or an Aqua or anything else with Toyota's hybrid Synergy drive, you know how it drives. It is drive-by-wire for steering and for brakes, and then has charge in the brakes? I actually don't know. No, it looks like standard brakes here without the ability to charge the battery with them. At any rate, let's take a look at the auction inspection sheet. There is going to be a few things that I don't know about it. We don't export so many of these new vehicles. As you can see, most of the stuff in there is rather old. Okay, so let's go ahead and translate this for you. It's a year 2020 Yaris Cross Hybrid Z edition, 1.5 liter engine. Odd about the 1.5 liter hybrid, actually gets a little bit less power than the gasoline only version, but they share the same 1.5 liter engine. And so in the hybrid version, you get approximately 80 horsepower, 85 horsepower from the gasoline engine, and then boosts it up to 116 horsepower combined. But then the gasoline only version, 120 horsepower. So you get a little bit of a faster car if you went with the gasoline only. Of course, you get a lot better fuel economy with the hybrid. You get a little bit better than 4 kilometers per 100 liters, which is insanely good mileage. And part of the reason for that is you get a good aerodynamic body. You also get pretty close to full flat underside, both in the front and the rear, including a very cool stock diffuser. This is the second car by Toyota that I've reviewed today that has a stock rear diffuser with its own fins attached into it. And then just for those who are interested in... Oh, it does have the brake regen. Ah, cool. It is a torsion beam rear suspension, which is ubiquitous on your lighter front-wheel drive cars. Okay, so let's go over the rest of this. It says, first time that this car has been at auction, it has an AC 100 volt, 1500 watt outlet so that you can plug in a lot of different things. 1500 watts is actually rather high. Drive recorder, it doesn't have the SD card. There's the drive recorder right there. Tool collection box for Japanese highways. And I think this says cold weather package. I think it says that. Okay, winter tires on it, and summer tires in the car? That's weird. It didn't come with any tires in the car. Okay, it says leather airbag, ABS, power steering, and power windows. I don't think that the seats are actually leather. I think that they're just the leather look. They could be real leather, but sometimes it can be hard to tell just by touching, especially if you can't peek underneath to see what it looks like from the other side. Nonetheless, the seats are nice. I will show you more of that in a second. Okay, and then it says console is scratched, interior dirty, seats has small stains, exterior has very small scratches, and aftermarket wheels scratched. Windshield rock chip, and then we have A1, 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 B1. I didn't really notice any of these. The only one that I could notice, I'm going to show you right now. There's a little scratch right here. And there's a little dent or a little chip right there. And that's basically it. The car's gorgeous. Now, a funny thing about new cars is that they go like this. And I think it's manufactured that way to prevent it from denting. I feel like new cars don't dent as much, but they seem a little bit more floppy, which is kind of odd in my opinion. It does mean a nice lightweight car if you're spending, less of your weight in body panels. Does that make sense? Spending? If the body panels are thinner, they're going to weigh less. Here, how about that? The Yaris Cross. Okay, so the Yaris is a hatchback. The Yaris Cross is a lifted up suspension, visually based on the Yaris, but I don't believe it shares any of the same body panels, but it is on the same chassis. I did look that up before shooting this one because there's so little I knew about these. They're not really on my radar, but they are an extremely popular car. I checked, they sold over 100,000 of them in Europe, like 130,000 in 1 year for the first year that they were available all across Europe. And then in Japan, they're steadily selling 80 to 90,000 a year. That's pretty insane. These are extremely popular. And it's kind of the type of car people want. A small car that you sit up high, potentially has four-wheel drive, good fuel economy, decent space inside. I will say the back seats are a little on the small side for me, but it is a subcompact car. And so if you want more back seat, you go with a bigger car. Now, some of the details. Styling. I think Toyota's been doing good styling for their cars recently. I think that the headlights on these are really nice. I think that they're aggressive. And the car competes with the Nissan Juke, I suppose. It's a very similar size and market position as the Juke. This, to me, is a lot better looking than the Juke. And I like how it's dual projector headlights inside here. But this part here cuts them off, so it kind of gives them an I'm angry look. Good. And then it has the LED strip that's along here. Of course, every new car has to have LED strips or people aren't going to buy them. This car, no different. Some sort of a cat liked the car better than everything else, and so put its dirty little cat prints all over the hood and the top of the headlight. Tisk tisk, but that's going to wash off, so you don't have to worry too much. Okay, roof, I guess, is looking fairly aerodynamic. Toyota really knows what they're doing with aerodynamics in cars. That's how you get the good fuel economy these days. Rear spoiler, and then the back end has a, I don't know, looks attractive for what it is. Like I said, not the kind of car I'm going to potentially get, but yeah, I like. Open this up, show you the trunk here. Now, I would normally go around and point out more of the stuff wrong with the car, but there's really nothing wrong with it. I will say that the trunk, it's great. Having such a large area here that opens up allows you to drop stuff in very easily. The loading height, a little on the high side if it's something heavy, but looks like you can fit a good large amount of stuff in there, although the fastness or the rake of the back windshield is going to limit that somewhat. Again, you need more space. There are station wagons that Toyota sells. The Corolla station wagon is actually a fantastic looking car at the moment. Okay, into the trunk here, we have anchors for the seats. We have a false floor here, so you can hide stuff underneath. Okay, and then underneath that, there is a spare tire well, but for the Japanese market, it looks like you don't get a spare tire. You get a pump, an air pump. Okay, here's your 1500 watt outlet. Also a ground here, really weird. You unscrew this and then you can wrap a ground into there if you need to ground it. This is very much the Japanese style of grounding. It is a little bit awkward because there's like an extra wire that comes out. You know, like in America, they have like the 2 prongs, right? And then there's the third one underneath that's circular. So that's what you hook this up to. But in Japan, it comes as a separate wire instead of directly into the same outlet. I don't really know why. Weird, but whatever. It's the first car I've ever seen that has its own ground like that, though. Okay, close it down. Into the back seats. Now you're going to get stuck in the back seats if you've got feet, because here's my regular my regular driving position. And yeah, not a lot of room there. For kids, absolutely, it's fine. Also, the door doesn't open all that wide. And so getting in for adults can be a little bit of a hassle. Not everyone's going to have this seat in as far back a position as I do. As I often say in these videos, I sit with most of the seats in the full back position because of my super duper long legs. But the seats themselves, fairly comfortable. I like the pattern on them. It's something I haven't really seen, this kind of like, I don't know what you would call that, but this kind of pattern is going to cover up the dirt, I think, fairly well in comparison to something that is all just one color. You get 3 seats in the back here, and this is going to fold down, but I don't know how. Let's try pulling this thing. Okay, that's a little bit weird. You don't get a cushioned pillow here. You get cup holders, but no cushion on it. And then we got some scratches on the edge of this. Okay. Now into the front seat. The front doors, very large, very easy to get into, and they open nice and wide. So no issue there. I think that the interior is attractive. It absolutely looks modern. This handle's comfortable to pull. It's made out of, you know, intentionally cheap materials to keep costs down. This is an entry-level market vehicle for sure. But it's not a penalty box inside. There I go, speaking the Canadian terms. I don't know if that actually makes sense. In hockey, if you do a bad boy thing, then you get sent into a box while all of the fans laugh and make fun of you. The penalty box. And I guess in North America, I think I've heard this in the US as well. Sometimes it's called a penalty box for bad interior on a car. Okay, so the seats. This pattern, or this fabric, kind of a soft fabric, nice amount of squish in it. Then the leather. And then this one here, it's a synthetic. Looks okay. I'm not sure how well it's going to stand up. It's going to be interesting to see this car in 20 years to see how well it holds up. Electric seats, all that function works. We have a stain here and a little bit here. Looks like you should be able to wash that out. Same thing goes with over there. Got some cup holders here. A very simple style console section. Automatic transmission shifter. And then, look at that. Big screen, because every car nowadays needs a big screen. Looks like you get real buttons for the AC and dials, which is really nice. Mosquito's eating me. 1 second, please. That mosquito is now outside of the car and no longer living. Heated seats, great on a cheap car. Also, a place to charge stuff. And a USB input, I guess. Okay, this area has a lot of scratches. But here's something interesting. You have this like little cupped area here. If you had a bottle of something or a can of something, you wanted to keep it cold, you could absolutely do it by sliding it in here and directing these down onto it. Cool idea. Okay. As you can see, it looks like a full black screen, but oh, those aren't part of the screen. Now you can see where the screen starts and ends. Okay. But just looking at it, it mostly looks dark in there, right? It is a kind of sit up high type car, so good for people getting in and out of the car if your knees are hurt, or if you're a little bit older, or if you don't want to have hurt knees when you're a little bit older. Okay, your parking brake here is a switch, which is a little bit weird at first until you think of it just like the lever. Pull up to turn it on and push down to turn it off. Also, this car automatically puts the parking on when you shift into park. Something that, why don't more cars do that? Or maybe they do, I just don't see the new cars. And yeah, you can drive it in EV only mode by the looks of it. I don't know what your range is, but the internet can help you with that if you want. Little cubby here with a cigarette lighter adapter inside. No ashtray taking up real estate on the dashboard, which is good. Okay, and it's a brown and black two-tone for the interior. Headliner's nice and clean. And I think that's basically all there is to say about it. It's always exciting for me to check out a car I haven't seen before, especially when it's something outside of what I normally see. Like if I sold new cars all the time, this wouldn't be so impressive to me, but something new like this, I like to take a look at it. It is a 3-year-old vehicle, but it is the most current model that you can get here in Japan for it. Anyways, that's all I have for this. Thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day.